So I'm about more than halfway through my second alcoholic beverage, so you know what that means. It's time for MRD Oscar picks. It's that time of year to guess and see how much we can get right. How much can we predict right for the Oscars this year? I am Mitchell Ryan Dursey, and if you've seen my previous videos, you know how this works. I have two things to select for each Oscar category. What I want to win, which doesn't really count for anything. It's just more of a, well, that's the one I kind of want to win, but I know it's not going to win. That's why there's what will win. My previous best is about 60%. I think it was under 60%. I think it was like 58 point something or whatever, correct? Which is amazing. And last year I watched so many of the Oscar nominated films. This year is drastically different. This year I've literally, let me count how many films I've watched. I watched Mank, I've watched Tenet, I've watched The Trial of Chicago 7, I've watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and there's got to be one more I watched. That actually might be it. I said Mank, right, already? This is the most blind I've gone into an Oscars night in a long time. I don't know, ever since I was a kid watching the Oscars, I've never been so blind in what exactly is nominated and everything. So it's going to be very interesting. This is probably going to be my lowest score, I assume. But maybe not. Maybe I'll be able to guess correctly. So I have my Oscar ballot sheet. So starting off with, we'll just go from the bottom all the way to the top. But we're gonna skip over Best Picture and save that for last because obvious. Starting off with Original Screenplay, one of my more favorite categories, but I've only seen The Trial of Chicago 7. So, in all honesty, I don't feel The Trial of Chicago 7 should be nominated for Original just because I'm under the impression it's based on true people and it's a true event. So it's like it's not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where there is a true, inspired by a true event, but it's mostly original. The Trial of Chicago 7 is mostly based on true event that happened and true people. So I'm kind of surprised that this is nominated for Original Screenplay. But anyways, I wanted Sound of Metal because sounds like a good film. Like, I don't know. But what I chose will win is Judas and the Black Messiah. And basically, all these films I haven't seen, I kind of really want to see. Sound of Metal I want to see. Promising Young Woman I want to see. Even in Minari sounds, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but even that sounds like a pretty good film overall. So I have no idea which one's actually most original in terms of screenplay, but if I had to guess, I guess Judas and the Black Messiah will win. And then adapted screenplay, I kind of want and I feel will win is Nomadland. Nomadland, that one is based off a book, I believe, and I keep hearing it's good, haven't seen it. Sorry. Visual effects. Let's face it, I want Tenet to win, and I believe Tenet will win. Sound, which used to have been made up of two categories, but now it's just one. So that's either going to help me out or make me lose even more. I chose what I want, and what will win is Soul. Because, I mean, it's not very often that an animated film gets nominated for Best Sound Mixing, Sound Design, and, well, it's combined together, so it's just Best Sound in general. So it's very interesting, and Soul is actually nominated for a couple other things as well, which is pretty cool. I just wish animated films could also be nominated for Best Picture. I mean, if a Best International Feature Film can be nominated in both that and Best Picture category, then Best Animated Feature could be nominated for Best Picture, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be counted out just because it's animation. I just have a little stingy rant about that. Anyways, live action short and the animated short film category are both categories that are very... I haven't seen any of them, so I had to actually read little synopsis on them because I literally, even though they're short, I didn't make the time to take a look at them. So I'm basically going off of the name and the premise. And for live action short, I have What I Want and Will Win is White Eyes. I'm trying to remember why I chose that. I think, was that the one... White Eye. Oh, it's the one with the... It's something about a bicycle and a confrontation and confrontation on the street or whatever. Like, it's a very... That one to me sounded like, yeah, okay, I could see that one winning, so that's the one I chose. But for animated short film, I wanted Opera to win because that one sounded very unique. And also the fact that that short film, animated short film, can actually be looped. So it literally ends the same way it begins. And so you can just have it running on a loop. That's pretty cool sounding animated short film. So I wanted that one to win, but I chose If Anything Happens, I Love You to win. Because it's, given the subject matter of... parents. I'm not going to spoil it, but I did read a little bit about the short film. I actually kind of really want to check it out. Anyways, so for Best Production Design, this one was a little bit of a toss-up, because, let's face it, I want Tenet to win for production design, given the subtle costume, the whole production design of the design of the original ship. Inversion machine and all that, and just how things in general was set up with the blue and the red and all that. Like, a lot of the production design choices I think is like tremendous, and I kind of want Tenet to win, but I have a feeling they will give it to Mank, and so I think Mank will win it just because it's kind of the safe choice with production design. Granted, you also do have News of the World and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which could just sort of just out of nowhere take it, because I mean, they're period pieces as well, and they had some good production design as well. Never seen The Father. I'm not even sure what The Father is about. That one kind of was a movie that's definitely out of left field, because the other movies I at least heard about. But anyways, moving on. Now, the original song, I went through and I actually spent the time to listen to each song. And I kind of really liked, and I wanted Low C, bracket scene, The Life Ahead, La Vida Davanti a Si. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly at all. But that was a really nice song I liked. I also kind of liked the Eurovision Song Contest, whatever movie that is or whatever. That one was pretty good song as well. But I wanted Low C to win, but it will be Hear My Voice from the Trial of the Chicago 7. My thinking is that would probably be the movie that saw the most out of these nominees for original song. And so my thinking is, if that's the one most people probably saw, that's the one that they're probably going to vote for song-wise, and that's going to be the song that's going to be... And it's a pretty good song. I liked it. Original score, I want, and I believe Soul will win it. Even though I haven't seen Soul, I really want to see Soul. I was going to go see it in theaters, but I don't think it even came out in theaters, to be mistaken. But I've seen it in Walmart, and I was going to pick it up, but I was like, I don't want to pay $40 to buy a 4K plus Blu-ray of that movie. Not yet. Kind of hoping it's going on sale eventually so I could pick it up. or I can find it for cheap elsewhere or something. Anyway, so makeup and hairstyling. I'm really happy seeing 5 nominees for makeup and hairstyling because there's been several cases previously where they only nominate free people, and I'm like, or free movies, and I'm like, I know there's more movies out there that have makeup and hairstyling than just free. I'm sure you can fill it up to 5, and I'm glad I'm seeing 5 here for nominees for makeup and hairstyling. I know I've been hearing about Hillbilly Elegy had some good, or Elegy, I don't know if I'm saying it, but it had some major makeup. Uh, but I went with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I felt had the best overall makeup and hairstyling. So that's the one I want to win, and that's what will win. Now for international feature film, from process of elimination, because I actually because I read through the description for each one very briefly, but there was an Oscar fact sheet, and they pointed out that Another Round was also nominated in the directing category, which is very unique because none of the other international feature films was nominated for Best Director. So that is so noteworthy. I felt it would be the safest bet that that one's definitely going to win Best International Feature Film. I know it's technically not fair, but it's such a kind of obvious sign. Like, for example, Parasite last year, I'm like, okay, he's nominated for Best Directing. He might not win Best Directing, but he did win Best Directing, which was awesome. Bong Joon-ho. I need to remember exactly his name, but the director of Parasite, he was also nominated for International Feature Film. So it's kind of like might be another similar situation, but I don't think Another Round's director is going to win Best Directing. But I believe it's going to win International Feature Film. That's the one I have for both want and will. For Best Film Editing, I understand why Tenet wasn't nominated for Best Picture and all that, and because I love the movie, I love Christopher Nolan's work in general. It took me a while to get into Tenet per se. I had to watch it several times. But my only complaint Oscar-wise with Tenet is that it was not nominated for film editing. That was like one of the best edited films of the last year, in a sense. But I do feel like I can kind of understand why people didn't want to nominate for film editing, but I'm actually really sad that it didn't. I mean, we're talking the same category where Bohemian Rhapsody won Best Film Editing, and they have like a table scene of them talking, and it cuts like over like 20 different cuts in a matter of like 30 seconds, and for them just talking at a dinner table, and it's like, wow. That won Best Film Editing, but Tenet couldn't get at least a nomination for that. That was my only complaint, really, Tenet-wise, because, I mean, I could see why it's nominated for visual effects, but the funny thing is, with it being nominated for visual effects, is that the movie itself has less visual effects shots, where they had to, add the computer-generated effects or anything like that. It had about the same average as a romantic comedy in the terms of visual effect shots, compared to, say, something like Avengers or a superhero movie, which usually has about like somewhere around 3,000 visual effect shots. Tenet has about around 300, and that's around the average for like a romantic comedy film, like something where it's like, dating comedy. It's not, that's a movie you wouldn't think of would be a action or anything like that. But the fact that Tenet had so less of actual visual effects, and then majority of everything was practical, was like, that is amazing, and that's why it's nominated for visual effects. But film editing was the main reason that Tenet was held together, and I feel it sucks that Tenet was not at least nominated. Like, if it was nominated and it didn't win, okay, at least it was nominated. But the fact it wasn't even nominated annoys me so much. Anyways, that's enough of that rant. Sound of Metal is the one that I want to win, because I feel like usually the musician type movies, you have, you know, concert scenes, stuff like that, or stuff like that. Like, I'm not sure, but because I haven't seen the movie, but then you also got that drama and life type setting, so it has that really nice mixture. Could be good editing. Like all five of these films could be really good at editing. The only one, Trial of the Chicago 7, I felt, yeah, it was edited great, but I didn't think it was anything special in the terms of editing. But that could just be me, and the problem is I haven't seen the other films, so I can't say. So I decided I want Sound of Metal to win, but I think Promising Young Woman might win, just because the plot of that movie is more like a revenge type thriller type thing. Like, I'm not entirely sure. That's just my impression of what the movie's about. So that was actually one of the movies I was really like, I was really tempted to pick up just to watch it, or even to watch it on Netflix, but I never actually got a chance to watch it because I've been busy the last couple of months, and I didn't really feel like shoving more watching into my schedule. Like, I've only seen one new movie this year, and that's Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's how sort of busy I've been. Best documentary short subject. So for this one, I wanted Do Not Split, because that one is centered around the more recent, I believe, Hong Kong riots and that whole situation, which was, I think, last year. I could be mistaken on that. But I went with What Will Win is A Love Song for Latasha. That one is, sounds like it's the more favored of the ones to win, so I'm like, okay, that one's gonna win. Document feature, I want, and I'm actually very interested in watching this, is The Mole Agent. It's about a senior sort of goes into a retirement home section to try to see or expose if the retirement home or whatever, or the care center is actually has like has cases of abuse, elder abuse, and so he's trying to expose that. So that sounds like a really good documentary. And actually, I also am very interested in watching Crip Camp and My Octopus Teacher. But that I went with Mole Agent for what I want and what will win. So for best directing, I want Mank to win. Obviously, David Fincher had a really long career of amazing and great movies. Mank is an extremely great film, but it's also a very niche film, especially with old Hollywood and Citizen Kane in particular, and Orson Welles and all that jazz. And so it's like, as much as I want David Fincher to win, I believe it's definitely going to not be Mank, and I think it's going to be, I'm aiming the same as the Golden Globes, because from seeing the Golden Globes, Nomadland won, if I remember correctly, that director. So, because I've been hearing very good things about the film, so that's why I believe Nomadland will win Best Director. Now, costume design. I wanted Mank to win once again, but I believe Ma Rainey's Black Bottom will win Best Costume Design. Cinematography. Now this one, hands down, I believe Mank has this, but that's just me. So I want Mank to win, and Mank will win. Animated feature film. This one's gonna be a bit obvious. Soul is nominated for so much. I feel like Soul is gonna win both. It's both what I want to win and it's what will win. For the acting categories, for actress in a supporting role, I kind of really want Oh, that's the fifth film I saw. I saw Borat 2. I totally forgot. That was the fifth film I saw. So I have seen 5 films that were nominated this year. I apologize. I totally forgot. So the one I want to win Best Actress in a Supporting Role is Maria Bakalova. Apologize if I'm butchering your name, but for someone who's never acted in a film before, she was literally the kind of the heart of the entire movie for Borat 2, and the best part overall of the entire movie. Like she in some ways carried the film in a sense. Granted, not to discredit Sacha Baron Cohen, he also was carrying the film a bit, but she was definitely the heart and soul of the film. So that's why I kind of want her to win. But but this one was a tough one for what will win, because I had it down to either Glenn Close or Amanda Seyfried. Amanda Seyfried, this is her first nomination ever, was for this movie, Mank. And Glenn Close has an entire history of being nominated and not winning an Oscar. And I think she's currently the most nominated person in history who's still alive who has not won an Oscar. I firmly believe that. Or something similar to that. I'm not entirely sure. Didn't research this as well as I like to off the top of my head. Yeah, the second drink's kind of hitting me a little hard now. But from what I've heard, Hillbilly Elegy, whatever it's called, how to pronounce it, that movie is actually, I don't know if it's like the movie itself is bad, or if it's just the material it was adapting was bad to begin with or something. But you got Ron Howard directing the film. I think Hans Zimmer is doing the music to that film. And you got a pretty good cast in that film, including Glenn Close. And so it's like, she was nominated for a Razzie Acting Award as well as Oscar for this role. So this is a very hard situation to choose which one will win, because Glenn Close kind of deserves an Oscar just for all her previous things. Like, even pick any one of her previous nominations, and she should have won for that. That is my safe bet. I think they're going to give it to Glenn Close just basically for her prior history. But I kind of do want to see Amanda Seyfried win for Mank, but I would also really want to see Maria Bakalova win for Borat 2. Actress in a leading role. Really was aiming, I'm like, oh, Viola Davis definitely has this in the bag, especially after seeing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. But now I was getting a little bit of a second chance. I'm like, they might give it to Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. Is the toss-up. So I went with, I want Viola Davis to win, but it's going to be Carey Mulligan that will win it for actress in a leading role. For actor in a supporting role, I want, and I think Daniel Kaluuya will win Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Judas and the Black Messiah. But it's going to be interesting because I have a strange feeling that they might give it to Sacha Baron Cohen, not specifically for Trial of Chicago 7, because yeah, he did a good job acting in that film, but he felt too normalized of a character. Like, it felt like almost like Sacha Baron Cohen was just not playing a character per se. He was just sort of playing himself in that role. Like, it didn't feel like he was acting per se. It just felt like he was just naturally being himself in the role. But I think the reason they might give it to him is just because of Borat 2. Because they weren't actually going to nominate him for Borat 2. They were like, well, we'll nominate you for the more serious role, but if we are going to give you the award, it's definitely secretly because of Borat 2. That's why I feel with the nominee um, for Sacha Baron Cohen. But I want and will Daniel Kaluuya will win for Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, actor in a leading role, we know hands down this is the most sure, safest bet in the entire Oscar category this year, and that is Chadwick Boseman is absolutely 100% going to win for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and it's so unfortunate that he passed away, and it's like just imagining where his career, like the amount of work he left us, like the 42 movie, Black Panther, the Get On Up movie, which I still haven't seen, but I really want to see it. And it's like, Chadwick Boseman, I want to win and will win, but I'm really excited seeing Riz Ahmed nominated for Sound of Metal. If Chadwick Boseman wasn't nominated, he would have been my go-to for Want and Will Win, but it's definitely Chadwick Boseman. And if you see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, you'll see why, because that is such a great performance. That movie in general felt like it was more of an acting type movie. It definitely felt like it was structured like an actual theatrical play, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you have Netflix. Very good film, and an amazing performance by Chadwick Boseman. Now, usually the go-to sign is whoever wins Best Director, usually that's the movie that wins Best Picture. And what I wanted to win was No Man Land. And so I kind of feel like No Man Land would be the Best Picture winner, but I kind of want to see a bit of more of a change. I felt like Promising Young Woman, just because it's a revenge thriller type movie, or that's how I'm under the impression it is. That's the one I kind of want to see win, because I mean, how many times do we get a revenge thriller type movie where somebody's going after somebody because of some reason, and you know, I don't know if they're killing them or torturing them, I don't know, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm just under the impression it's kind of like in that category, but it's more original. So and the fact that it's nominated for Best Picture, I'm like, I kind of want to see that win. And same thing with No Man Land, Sound of Metal, Judas and the Black Messiah. I heard some great things about that film. Mank I love, and I think it was the second best film that I saw last year, but I know it's probably not going to win. Like, it would be an absolute wow if Mank wins, because I just don't think it would be, like, a lot of these movies, I'm like, it has a bit of potential to be Best Picture, but it's like, I don't know if they, I don't know if they would reach the level. So, Promising Young Woman, I kind of want to see win, but if I had to bet my life on what movie would win Best Picture this year, I would have to go with the safest choice, and the safest choice is The Trial of the Chicago 7. And it's just overall great movie from beginning to end. Granted, it wasn't too special of a movie. It just was a very great movie, but it wasn't like spectacularly great. Like, like I haven't seen any of the other films that are nominated other than Mank. So it's just Mank and Trial of Chicago 7 that I've seen for Best Picture. And even Mank, I'm like, yeah, it's great, but I don't know if it's really Best Picture material in a sense. Like, I don't really see Mank winning Best Picture in a sense. So it's like, The Trial of the Chicago 7 just seems like the safest choice, and that's the one I believe will win it. And for Want, I chose A Promising Young Woman, just because I'm like, it's probably not going to win, but I kind of would like to see that win, you know? Though if No Man Land if she wins Best Director, I'm totally unfamiliar with what her name is, but if she wins Best Director, there's a good chance she's going to win Best Picture, and that would be my second choice for what will win. But I feel like The Trial of the Chicago 7 is the safer choice. I'm annoyed that Oscars pushed it to February, or pushed it from February all the way to the now April. Like the Oscars should be in January. I feel like it should be the end of January, and it should only count for the movies that were from January to December of the previous year. Like that's how I view it. But they allow, hey, if the movie came out in January and February, yeah, we'll count it as Oscars for last year, and that always bugged me as well. But anyways, there's nothing I could do about it. Oscars, most of it is just, it's all about the money and how much they spend on advertising for, getting an award. And that's the reason why Tenet wasn't nominated for Best Original Score as well as Best Editing, and maybe even an acting award for specifically, what's his name? Hamlet guy, Kenneth Branagh, because Tenet decided not to put the money into spending to be like, hey, please nominate us. Please take a look at, Tenet as a nominee for this or Best Picture or whatever. They, instead of spending the money on that, Christopher Nolan asked the studio to spend the money more towards the feeders and all that. And to not spend the money, waste the money on sending out little DVDs to everybody in the Oscar Academy to help push Tenet into the Oscar spotlight. So Christopher Nolan does have my respect for that. And so, anyways, thank you very much for watching. I want you to have a nice day or night or whatever time you watch this. Have a nice whenever. Check out my other videos. It's entirely up to you. No pressure. I usually do stuff related to movies, but sometimes games and sometimes music related and shows and whatever. What I can guarantee is it will involve me.